Y'all, it's time for Happy Hour Monday, July 20th edition. Ain't no mountain high enough. Guys, we made it. We survived Monday. It's over. It's time to put something in your glass and celebrate. Good to see Rinda, always first in the chat. Feels like drinking Mourvedre after a long swim. Swim sounds great right now, y'all. I need a pool or a river or a lake or something. Too much sun, too much heat, not enough water. So I need to make that happen in my life. Adele, you're in Lake Hawakoni. Where is Lake Hawakoni? I've never heard of that. Is that a Texas thing? Rick, what is up in Tulsa with 17 Lost Jar Mourvedre? Cheers, friend. Rob, it's a water day over yonder. I get it. Sometimes we need those jugs. Celebrating in Allen, Texas. Bill and Monica in Lake Jackson with 17 Lost Jar Mourvedre. I love it. Adele's having a Michelob. Brian in Northwest Austin. It's a good crew today, guys. We're going to have a lot of fun talking about the Piedmont region. Cheers, y'all. Happy hour. Y'all, I figured I hadn't done a good throwback tune in a while. Good reminder, there ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no mountain high enough. Guys, I'm stoked about today. Spent some time studying, excited to geek out with you, share a little bit about my wine nerd knowledge. Eric and Asha, what's up in San Antonio? Having the 18 Wild Permit Malbec Rosé. I am gonna have that later this week, actually. Jennifer, what is up with Alan? Also Mourvedre 17. I like it in Sugarland. Okay, guys. The song usually tells me when it's about time to get kicked off, so let's do it. Continue hopping in the chat here. You guys know the drill. I love it. We want to know where you're located, what you're drinking, and if you're a newbie, let us know. We want to know about our first timers. First up, we've got what I am drinking today. So cheers, guys. We made it through Monday, July 20th. In case you forgot, it's Monday. It's July 20th, and we're done with it. For my William Chris wine of the day, let's take a look at the label. Sexy red black label here. This is Mourvedre or Mourvedre. Guys, please, I hope you're to the point now where you're not calling this Mourvedre. That's not how you say this grape's name, okay? It's not Mourvedre. Mourvedre, Mourvedre, Mourvedre. You want more Mourvedre? Those are all good ways to say it. Lost Straw Vineyards, Texas High Plains. And I am drinking the 16 version today, the 2016 version. I saw some of you drinking the 17. That's my bad if you're doing that because you're trying to drink the same thing. I did say 17 on Friday, but I forgot it was the 16 that I had with me. So we're having 16 Lost Jar Mourvedre. Guys, this saw about 20% new European oak, new Eastern European oak, 80% neutral. So let's give it a swift sniff. I was about to say sniff and smell, and it all ran together. Pretty typical for me, red fruited, but then also some tart black fruit. I think the Lost Straw version of our Mourvedres typically goes into the black fruit world, whereas like the Timmins, sometimes La Pradera will stay more red fruited. I think La Pradera has a tendency to get a little more like rustic and bigger, more ripe fruits on the black side. So you do like blackberry and plum, and I love it. And the new oak for me is definitely showing up, especially in its youth. This is only, what, 4 years old now, so you definitely get a little bit of the sweet spice on this. Not overbearing. This isn't like an over-oaked bomb of a wine, but I always think when you have black fruits and you get a little bit of that oak spice, it's almost like this pie note, this brambly pie note that I really like. It's also beginning just now, I think, it's about 4 years old again, just now starting to take on some of those like meaty, earthy notes that Mourvedre can really show off with once it gets a little bit of age under its belt. So this is still fruit driven in its youth. Again, 4 years old. You're expected to be a little more fruit driven. So good. I have been craving this, so excuse me if it's not your world. So we're going to talk about food because you know I got to talk about food here. This is 100% my baked ziti with Italian sausage. Like I've been craving it. Maybe this is like a little bit of a power of suggestion situation, but I want baked ziti with Italian sausage, red sauce, and this wine. It doesn't have a ton of tannin, so um, it's not about cutting through fat or standing up to protein or anything like that. It's more about the complement of the fruitiness versus the savoriness, because that baked ziti and Italian sausage, you're going to get kind of the savory goodness, and then what that's going to do is really highlight those fruit tones that you get in this wine. That's what somebody should. It's probably not going to happen here. I'm not going to cook it, but somebody should cook me some baked ziti with Italian sausage. Just saying. I can send you my address. All right, guys, that's the William Chris wine of the day. Let's check back in. I love to see Lisa Flick in here giving me a hard time. I miss you, Lisa. I'm wearing sunglasses because it's what I do at happy hour, even though I'm inside because the temperatures are crazy. The light in my living room is quite bright. I get a little extra light in my face for the camera. Just, I wear my sunglasses at night too. I wear my sunglasses. Okay, so anybody. Guys, we got a first timer. Let's show some love to our friend Danielle here in Victoria, Texas, drinking water because you're 17 weeks pregnant. Congratulations. Love that. Thanks for joining us. You're going to learn some about wine, even though you're not drinking it. We're going to geek out and nerd out about it. So we're just glad you're here hanging out with us. Yes, Catherine, guys, I am wearing sunglasses inside. I've been doing this for like, I don't know, almost over a week now. It's going to be the thing. I think every day there should be like an assigned person in the comments that asks me this just so we can laugh about it and make fun of me, because guys, this is what this is about. We're having a little bit of fun. Maybe tomorrow I'll wear my hat forwards instead of backwards to really throw you guys off. Cheers, guys. It's time to get nerdy. So let's all take a drink and get ready for some wine nerd download to our brains. Okay. Not only is it Mourvedre Monday, that is why I am drinking Mourvedre, but just because Mourvedre Monday doesn't also mean it can't be Map Monday, because you guys know I love my maps. So we're going to talk about a new region today that we haven't covered called Piedmont, or as the Italians call it, Piemonte. So since we're going to be covering the Piedmont region today, you guys know the drill. As I'm covering this stuff, I want y'all to drop in the chat, the comments, and tell me, like, what do you want to know? What questions do you have? So while you're thinking about that, I'm going to pull up the map to show you where we're going to be located. So everybody knows, well, at least I hope you do. Maybe in geography class, you had as bad of a geography teacher as I did, and you actually never picked this up, but Italy is in the shape of a boot. The whole today I learned thing. Today I learned. Hopefully this is not the first time you've heard that. Italy's in the shape of a boot. And the Piedmont region is this little white chunk up here. I'd call it maybe like the hip of Italy, the front hip, the hip flexor of Italy is this little white pocket. And Piemonte, or Piedmont, translates to the foot of the mountains. Okay, so 3 things you need to know about Piedmont today. And I'm actually going to zoom away from the overall map and show you the regional map. Okay, so we've zoomed in here. We are now on the regional map part of, let's see if I can get it to zoom out. There we go. This is the regional zoom in. So you see the Ligurian Sea down here, which is technically kind of part of the Mediterranean. So on 3 sides, on the northern side, on the western side, and on the southern side, it is surrounded by mountains. So 3 sides surrounded by mountains, which is why it has the name Piedmont, or Piemonte, because it's at the foot of the mountains on 3 sides. That also, and this is thing number 1, it's Northwest Italy. We already talked about that, surrounded 3 sides by mountains, which creates a unique growing environment affected by hillside vineyards, which we've talked about hillsides before, and we're going to cover it again today. A rain shadow, which affects the amount of rain that this region gets. A continental climate, which usually means warmer, like extremes in temperature. So the winters are very cold and the summers are very hot. and fog. And fog is a really key factor in this region. It's actually where the grape Nebbiolo gets its name. So in Italian, nebbia is fog. Cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this. That aspect of the hillsides is perfect for more direct sun. Remember, we talked about that in the Mosel Valley because of the aspect that the vines are planted on. And actually, I can show you a picture. Let me pull up these hillside vineyards that I'm talking about because, guys, they are stunningly beautiful. We should all want to go there. So here's an example. You'll see these unbelievable, stunning vineyards that are on hillsides. And these hillsides are all over the place in this region, okay? I'm gonna take this little guy down so you can see better. That aspect has a better angle from which the sunlight can hit the grapes and therefore ripen them appropriately. So Nebbiolo, which we're gonna talk about, is kind of like what this region is known for, has trouble getting ripe enough. It's one of the earliest budding and latest ripening grapes on the earth. And so it needs extra sun. It needs, let's just call it, it needs extra love from the sun. It needs extra warm temperatures. It needs extra sunlight. So growing on these hillsides is actually super helpful to get the Nebbiolo ripe enough. Okay. Now, the rain shadow is super helpful. That's because while you're at altitude here and they do deal with a lot of fog, because there's not as much moisture at night, the temperatures can actually still get fairly cool. So even in the heat of summer, in the hottest part of summer, at night, the temperatures get cold enough, which slows down that ripening. So it's this weird teeter-totter balance of, well, we really need things to help ripen these grapes that are hard to ripen, but we don't want to do it too quickly, because if we do it too quickly, then the grapes lose what Nebbiolo, the best Nebbiolo wines, are famous for, which is high acidity and these beautiful, elegant aromatic notes. And so these hillsides and the fog and the rain shadow all play into this perfect mix to make these amazing, age-worthy, high-end Nebbiolo-based wines. The one bad thing about all of this is hail. This region sees a lot and is always at danger every vintage from hail. So if you ever hear about a bad vintage in the Piedmont region, 99 times out of 100, it's because they had real hail issues that year. Okay, not too dissimilar from some of the regions in Texas. You guys know that we do hail netting. That's a big thing for us. So, okay, that is the first thing you need to know. Let's move on to thing number 2. And this is, and I'm glad you guys are already planning the trips because we need to go. I mean, like, I still haven't ever been. This is one of the regions of the world that I've never physically been to, and I can't wait to go. Thing number 2 is about probably about what you care about. Okay, we just talked about the location and the climate and the geography. It's important to know about the grapes, right? Because the grapes are what make the wine. We want to know what to drink. Dee, stop telling us about the weather and tell us what to drink. Okay, so let's talk about what you should be drinking. All right. This region, the Piedmont region, is most famous for its Nebbiolo-based wines. Okay, and remember, most of the time in the old world of Europe, they put the region name on the label instead of the grape. So usually you're going to see it as Barolo, or Barbaresco. Okay, Barolo and Barbaresco are the two famous regions in this. So I guess I could call them sub-regions in this larger region of Piedmont that are famous for their Nebbiolo-based wines. Now, we're not going to go deep into Nebbiolo knowledge because we could spend all afternoon, all evening talking about just Nebbiolo. And I want you guys to learn about the other stuff that's happening in Piedmont that you should know about. So tomorrow, kind of like we did with Germany and the Mosel and Riesling, I'm going to save tomorrow to specifically dive into Piedmont Nebbiolo. So tomorrow is devoted to Barolo and Barbaresco and the Nebbiolo-based wines of Piedmont. So tune in tomorrow. You don't want to miss part 2 of this because we'll really get into Nebbiolo. So for today, we're going to focus on incredible red wines from Barbera and Dolcetto. Okay, Barbera and Dolcetto. So first up with Barbera. Okay, this is the most heavily planted in Piedmont. me say that one more time. Barbera is the most heavily planted in Piedmont. No grape, not even Nebbiolo is planted as much as Barbera. Barbera has high acid, low tannin, and a very intense red fruit character. This makes them immediately approachable and drinkable. So with Nebbiolo, if you're familiar, Nebbiolo has like high acid, high tannin. They're really intense to drink in their youth. You have to wait and wait and wait and wait in order to really enjoy Nebbiolo properly, or you get a big old chunk of meat and a rich pasta sauce. Barbera is like ready to go out of the gates. It's easy, it's drinkable. So the kind of joke was these winemakers in the region and the farmers planted Barbera so that they'd have something to drink while they waited on Nebbiolo to age in their cellars. So it's an incredible wine, and the same high quality producers that make the best Barolos and Barbarescos that are like hundreds and hundreds of dollars per bottle also make Barbera at like $20 to $30 a bottle. So like quality of winemaking is through the roof. The wines are approachable and easy to drink. Because of their high acidity, they go great with food. We should all be drinking more Barbera. So if you're not drinking Barbera, go get some, figure out how to get it. It's widely available. It's typically listed with the place it's from. So remember we talked about, and it's been a while. So actually, let me pull the map up again. There are two main names you need to remember. So pull up the map, share the screen. Okay, easy ones that you should be able to see right here. So you see Alba and Asti. You'll see Alba and Asti kind of right there. The Asti's in green and the Alba's kind of there in pink. Those are the two big kind of areas that you'll see on a label. Barbera d'Asti or d'Asti, which means Barbera from Asti, and Barbera d'Alba or Barbera from Alba. Those are the two main that you'll see on a shelf in the States. So look for Barbera, go get it. You're going to love it. And some of the best versions, guys, are even just as age-worthy as the Nebbiolo versions, okay? So make sure Barbera's on your list. The second one to know is Dolcetto, okay? Dolcetto is also going to have the ending that we're talking about. You can get Dolcetto d'Alba, Dolcetto d'Asti, and I'm going to pull that back out. Dolcetto, the name actually translates to little sweet one. Okay, so the grapes from the Dolcetto clusters can actually, in this region, they can be used as table grapes because they're so sweet. You know, normally we don't do that with wine grapes because they're too bitter and high in acid, but Dolcetto is so sweet that a lot of times they'll use those as table grapes and just straight up eat them. But Dolcetto, while it is known as the little sweet one, is not dessert wine. It is not sweet wine. Let me say that again. Dolcetto, though it is translated as the little sweet one, is not used to make sweet wine, okay? These wines are black fruited. You get notes of like violet, licorice, almond. They can be light and soft on the tannin side if they do kind of like really quick, short maceration or short time on the skins. So I'll take, I need a little wet the palate, so happy hour. With a short maceration or short time on the skins, they can kind of be light and soft. Or at the other end, if they oak age Dolcetto, they can kind of come across as this like blackberry jam on fresh toast. Like if you can just imagine that in your head, like fresh warm toast out of the oven with nice blackberry jam on top. Dolcettos are incredible wines. If you enjoy good fruit, they're low in acid. So again, I probably wouldn't recommend this for necessarily a food wine. They're pretty good to have by themselves. And again, they are not sweet. Cool. Awesome. So Barbera and Dolcetto are the red wines that a lot of people are sleeping on that come from this region. But of course, tomorrow we're going to discuss more about Nebbiolo, which really is what is most famous from this region. Cool. Let me check in on the questions in the comments before I give you thing number 3. Scroll up a little bit. So Bill's actually asking this, what are the best wines from Piedmont? That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you today. You're going to really want to focus on the Barolo and Barbaresco if you want these big, age-worthy, high-end, high-dollar wines that are meant for aging. Okay. Barbera from the same producers are also very, very high quality. Dolcetto is like more like a porch pounder, easy, not very serious wine, but still very good. And then thing three, I'm going to talk to you about white wines. So if you're a white wine drinker out there, I'm coming for you. Okay. So don't sleep on this. I've a really like, I think this is like an insider thing that not a lot of people are talking about, even amongst my Somm friends. In doing a little bit of research today, I was like, man, this is going to be a thing that I need to go find and seek out. Okay. Gosh, Rick, I am so jealous. Got a 58 Barolo that you're opening on your 65th birthday. I'm very, very jealous. That wine's probably going to be incredible. Guys, with age, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, Nebbiolo wines show notes of like violets and crushed roses. And there's this really interesting, I know it's going to sound crazy, tar notes to a lot of these wines, but sometimes like balsamic even. They get these balsamic notes. Aged Nebbiolo is some of the coolest wine I've had ever in the world. So Sam's helping me out here. Are there any white wines of note in Piedmont? I love this because you are setting me up for thing number three. So Sam, don't hold your breath because it's coming at you. Alan's asking, are the Italian Barbera wines like the French Beaujolais wines? This is actually a really good question. They're more deep fruited. I think of what most, well, I shouldn't say that. As a general rule, Beaujolais wines are more, and I'm about to use a Sami word that I always give my Somm friends a hard time for. They're more like crunchy red fruit. They're almost like pop rocks and cherries, and they're like more like fresh, sometimes a little bit floral. For me, Beaujolais wines are more red fruit and light and lifted. Okay. With Barbera, I think they're a little more rustic. They can carry a little more earth tone and will tend towards a little bit of black fruit, but still fruit driven. I would consider them maybe, I know I hate to say this because there are exceptions to this rule, and some people out there are going to hate me for saying, I think they're maybe just a little more serious. And I know, like, I hate myself for saying that even because there are some incredible Beaujolais producers that make these like age-worthy, Burgundy-esque, like incredible, serious versions of Gamay. But Barbera, I think, is more, I want to say like rich and dark fruited than I consider most Beaujolais on the whole. It's not as crunchy fruited and fun as Beaujolais. Beaujolais for me is just like straight pure pleasure. And I might want to have like a nice dinner with a Barbera. Beaujolais, I'm gonna like have at the pool most of the time. Okay, that's enough about me, Beaujolais and Barbera. But I do like the way you're thinking. They both have high acid. They can both have good red fruit notes. They're food friendly. They have really high quality producers who are elevating these everyday grapes in their region. So like that's actually a really great way to think about it because of all of the similarities in those things I just talked about. So like props to you, Alan, for drawing that. Okay, y'all, it's time for thing three because y'all been talking about it, and I've been talking about white wine of Piemonte. Like, don't sleep on white wine here, okay? Do not sleep on white wine, and here's why. Okay, they have spectacular under the radar white wines. Look for, and we've talked about this before, and don't go running and screaming at me about Moscato d'Asti, okay? Moscato d'Asti is made from very high quality producers. It's some of the, like, it takes a ton of attention to make this taste good and taste worth its money. It's an incredible wine. Is it sweet? Yes. Is it overly cloyingly sweet where it just sticks to your mouth? No. It has a slight fizz. It's incredible. Go drink Moscato d'Asti. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it because we've covered it before. This is the best Moscato in the world, hands down, no question, nothing. Okay, go get it. Go try it. It's been a while. If your brain got made up a long time ago and you forgot about Moscato because you had cheap, crappy stuff here in the U.S. at some point, like you need to go back and revisit Moscato d'Asti, Moscato from Asti, because it's the best Moscato in the world. Okay, I've said enough about that. The real things I want to talk about are Arnés and Favorita. Okay, Arnés and Favorita. Okay, Arnés Arnais is, I think, probably the most interesting white wine that's coming out of this region. It's known as the Little Rascal in the local dialect. Back in the day, I mean, it still is. It's low yielding, but back in the day, it never got attention. They planted it in the vineyards to help keep the birds away from the more expensive Nebbiolo grapes. They're like, if we plant the Arnais next to the Nebbiolo, the birds will go for the Arnais, and they'll keep our prized possession, the Nebbiolo vines and clusters, alone. Now, recently, within the last like 15-ish years, they've started to really pay close attention to make high quality versions of this. Guys, this is a full flavored delight of like white peach, grapefruit, sour apple, a little bit of white flour. Like, you all need to go find Arnais and drink some. It is incredible. I think it's awesome. I mean, I also love that it's called the Little Rascal. So like, makes me want to drink more of it and support that. Okay. So if you've never tried an Arnais wine, you need to go find it. The best ones are coming from an area near let's see if I can say this, Roero. So look for Arnais, and I'm going to write this in the comments, Arnais from Roero, which most of the time, if it's making it to the States, because this is the area that's known for high quality versions, like, it's probably going to come from the Roero area. And I'm going to give you, as promised, as I always do, some names of producers to go check out. But Arnais from Piemonte is great, and we all should be drinking more of it, myself included. I actually can't tell you the last time I had an Arnais, so I'm on that same bandwagon. I'm preaching to myself here. I'm gonna find Arnais in the next 2 weeks, and I'm gonna get some in my fridge, and I'm gonna drink it because they're incredible wines and they're under the radar. Now let's go back to this last one, which is Favorita. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I love Vermentino in all its forms from all its places. I love it from Sardinia. I love it from, they grow some near Chianti. They grow it in southern France. Like, I love Vermentino. So the local name for Vermentino is Favorita. And this is the under the radar new trend that most people out there don't know about. Okay. I recently watched a like master class streamed from the training program that I'm a part of. And this woman who's studying for her Master of Wine, who's an expert, and her husband is from Piedmont. And she was telling us about Favorita and how like this has become the new trend in the region, and that people need to look out for the high quality versions of Favorita coming out of the Piedmont. So guys, think about like lively, pure, exotic fruit, a little bit of spice, white flour, like all the great things that you've probably had Vermentino before. They make incredible versions on these hillside vineyards, and you want to find some Favorita. So that's like if you can hunt it down. I personally haven't seen this bottling anywhere, but I also haven't been looking for it. So I'm going to be on the hunt for Arnais and Favorita over the next couple of weeks, because I just need to be drinking more of it. Go. All right. Yes, I love it from Texas too. We make a great Vermentino, Mandola Vineyards Vermentino. Big fan. William Chris makes a delicious Vermentino. Okay, guys, as I always do, here's your bonus. Y'all are like, okay, well, which labels do I go look for? Here's your list. I'm going to give this, and then we're going to have a quiz question, so hopefully you're paying attention today. Here's your list of producers. If you're familiar with Barolo and Barbaresco, you've probably seen some of these names. Vieri, G.D. Vajra, Copo, Bruno Giacosa. Like, these guys are well known for making a lot of the different grapes that we've talked about today, in addition to Nebbiolo. So you can basically guess if they're a well-known, good producer and they already have distribution channels to the US, they're making all the different styles and all the different grapes that we're talking about during these 2 days of Piedmont. So look out for these names. They're well known. They're widely available. They're delicious. A lot of these wines are like a steal at their price point. The quality of winemaking that's been happening in this region, guys, goes all the way back to the 12 and 1300s. They've got it down. They know how to do food. So at some point, we're taking a William Chris field trip, like it's happening. Cool. All right. quiz question of the day. Let's see if you guys can get it. While I pull up these three things, I want y'all to drop in the comments, see if you can get today's quiz question of the day. Ba, ba, da, ba. Be careful. Just saying. Cheers, guys. Happy Monday. Happy hour. Man, that last Mourvedre is just continuing to open up. The oak settles down. The tannin settles down. Really nice flavor. I'm really digging that. Let's see here. I'm pulling up these three things, but you guys are answering that quiz question. You got to be careful today. Just saying. Some of you guys, y'all depend too much on the old school rules because you've been watching for so long, which I appreciate. I love my longtime viewers, but you know, you guys get caught in that trap of thinking the answer is always the same. Maybe not today, guys. Maybe not today. All right, before we jump into these three things, let's go over this. So yes, Dolcetto's grown there. Yes, Moscato's grown there. Yes, Nebbiolo even, which the region is probably most famous for, is grown there. But the most widely planted is Barbera. So your answer is C. Your answer is C. So all of you answered C. It looks like Eric, Bill, sorry, it's not all of the above. Alta got it right. Bill got it right. Brian corrected himself. Sarah, well done, guys. It is absolutely, yes, I have to be tricky on him. Katie, I apologize. I know it's a Monday. Got to be tricky on a Monday. If not on Monday, like, it's not as tricky. So, guys, the answer is C. Barbera is the most widely planted in Italy, excuse me, in Piedmont. And tomorrow we're going to talk more about Nebbiolo. Cool? Let's go over these three things. Okay, first up, y'all, this is crazy. I can't believe we're putting 4 Texas cabs with age, 4 Texas cabs with age in this virtual tasting pack. Like, crazy. Like, these are library wines, y'all. Stunning. It's happening on Saturday, just like it does with Chris and Catherine. We're doing a double vertical from 2 different vineyards, 14, 15 vintages of these 2 vineyards. Epic. Like, you don't want to miss this. If you've missed any of the other ones, this is not the week to miss. Just saying. Like, we don't do this. Okay, next up, don't forget our merch store, guys. Really cool William Chris hats that you can get. You don't want to sleep on our shirts, our hats. We got Gabriel glasses, the glasses that I use at home, not just because I'm a homer, because they're legit like the glasses I want to be drinking out of. Like, go get you some Gabriel glasses from us. Cheers. Okay. Last and certainly not least, I'm going to be here tomorrow, talking Nebbiolo, because we got to continue our discussion from today. Yeah, Brian, I agree. We need to get some white sunglasses in the merch store. I'm going to talk to Vernetta. V runs our merch store. She knows what's up. Like, V, if you're out there watching, we got to get some William Chris white sunglasses, right? Like, everybody wants to, you know, look like Happy Hour D. I love it. Okay, guys. Tomorrow, I'm going to be right here. I'm drinking the 18 Carbonic High Tanat, and I'm going to be discussing Piedmont Nebbiolo. So I'll see you right here at 5. Before I leave, I want to shout out, cheers to, guys. Cheers to school district leaders. You guys know that there's been a lot of talk about restarting school in the fall. And as somebody who's a former teacher, former administrator, I know, and my many friends in the industry, school district leaders right now are being thrown all kinds of different factors and timelines and regulations, and they're trying their best to navigate it. At the end of the day, we know those school district leaders love kids and are going to try and do best by them. And so I just want to shout out to all my school district leaders who are currently trying to figure out reopening plans, virtual school options, and lots of this, like, first time they've ever had to deal with these kinds of problems, issues. So props to you guys. We love you. We're thankful for all the work that you're putting in behind the scenes that we don't know about. Cheers to y'all. We'll see y'all tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Bye-bye.